How's it going, Scorpio community? Soul Tigers here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. Now, first off, before we get started, I want to say thank you for your patience as I was delayed on my return by an extra month due to some medical stuff. So let's go ahead and get started right away. Overly tired, Scorpio. You can't seem to get enough rest. For months and what feels like years, you have been on the go with no rest in sight. You are always dedicated to the ones you love. At this time, though, Scorpio, you are pouring from an empty vessel, which is actually increasing your irritability because you're so drained, but also it is weighing in on your health. Rest is needed to help you recover, just like you step up for everyone else, Scorpio. It is time to step up for yourself in ways that money can't buy. Oh my goodness. There's a lot coming out for this introduction. First thing that we're seeing that you're at odds ends with has to do with the full moon in Pisces. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. And I'm hearing to say spirituality goes hand in hand with how you take care of yourself as well. People who take care of themselves well, again in ways that money can't buy, are usually higher spiritual kind of people. And what I mean is they are very protective of themselves. They're very protective of their energy, and they use discernment when it comes to who and what they will expel their energy for. So this is something here that we have an issue with. Something else. Actually, let's go a few things that we're not seeing. I'm hearing to kind of stack this stuff up so we can go, one through. All right, so let's go ahead. So something you don't see right away. You have a hard time with optimism, things that can change. You feel like everything is kind of just the same routines with the same things that always plague your life. And it's something that really weighs heavy on you. It's something that you're really hard on yourself about. And sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough to have a little bit different in your life when it comes to what I'm hearing to say is more caring and compassionate relationships. Not where you're just always pouring into others, but others equally will pour into you. Something else is you're confused on is nothing will come of this situation when it comes to running yourself ragged for others. It is time to take a break and just breathe out a little bit. Giving yourself permission to put down the heavy load of burdens that you carry on your shoulders. Things that you're confused about has to do with new cycles coming into your life. Intimate type of things. Doesn't have to be totally sexual, but things who are just as caring, just as compassionate as showing up for you as you are showing up for them. Something here with the Pisces new moon. You need to meditate and contemplate. What I'm hearing is a lot of the choices that you're making. Are you basing your choices off of the need to feel needed? And sometimes when we have this need to feel needed, we surround ourselves with people who can't or won't do for themselves. This is something that you need to meditate on. Are you overexerting yourself for others who wouldn't do the same for themselves? That's a really hard one because all you're going to do is chase your tail in those type of relationships. So a few other things that you are having a hard time seeing is nothing is set in stone. Scorpio, we've talked about how you have this fear of things not being able to work out for you. For some reason, like mentioned before, you don't feel like the prosperity that you want in your life is something that is achievable for you. Something that's been really, really hard lately is to get into those higher beliefs when it comes to the flows of life. And here we have surrender. Surrender to the divine, to the flow. Somebody was asking me about Reiki the other day. I'm actually a Reiki master, health coach, massage therapist, mother, aunt, soon to be grandmother. Wearing a lot of different hats in my day. But the thing about Reiki is it comes down to intentions and being able to surrender the flow, or to the flow of life, to the flow of dharma, to the flow of karma, understanding that things come and go, and things come into our lives not always to play a perfect part, but sometimes to play the part that gets us sick and tired of certain routines. And it helps us get up. It helps light a fire under our rears to go. And sometimes we have detrimental things, inevitable events that happen to us. And a lot of times people will get stuck in those events and they will let that take them down, without ever realizing that sometimes these events help lead us to a purpose where we're meant to teach others from what we went through. Hold on to your vision. Hold on to your vision. Don't be confused, because how much you've been putting on work is paying off in different ways, but those different ways may not be what you're seeing yet. Maybe that's why it's important for you to go ahead and take a break. Take some time to yourself. We have the Piscean new moon that's happening here on the 18th. And Piscean house is the 12th house, ending old cycle, preparing for new. This is why you could be feeling so worn out and irritable, because you're sick and tired of the same routine. Now with the blood moon, aka the worm moon, super moon, that was on March 3rd, that was Virgo. And the Virgo's house is the 6th house, self-examination and improvement. And what I'm seeing is there is a side to you, a part of you that really wants things to improve, really wants things to work out. But there's something here that we gotta work on first. So let's go ahead and continue into the present. What is it that needs to come out for the present? Anything else? I'm hearing a few more cards. There are a few more cards. Something that sits on top is illusions of success. And I don't feel like it's your success. I think these are the illusions that you filled your cups with when it comes to your past ideals of what success is. And I think that's something that we have to unpour from, I'm hearing to say, because what was once poured is now stagnant. It's no longer of use. If you had a cup that you poured water in and you left that there uncovered for 6 months or so, would you go back and drink it? Probably not. So through our different phases of our lives, as we are evolving, things that we once thought were ideal will become stale, will become stagnant, and no longer beneficial to us. It's almost like holding on to the health coach in me is coming out. It's holding on to a goal that is not attainable. And a lot of times, certain goals that we want to have, certain ideas that we have for ourselves could be something that is not within our reach. Not because we're not good enough, it's because it's not meant for us. We're meant for other things. So something here that has been stagnant, that you've been overly focused on, something that pulls at your mental health a lot when it comes to how you overlook everything that's happening in your life, what you've brought in, what you've done. There's definitely here feeling like you haven't grown. You haven't grown. You haven't made progress into where other people you feel like will see you as being successful. This is that you being really hard on yourself type of energy. I don't know if you feel like if other people would give you more admiration, I'm hearing to say that would help solidify you being more successful. But like I said, if you're in a low frequency area or you've attached yourself to low frequency people who will not do for them, then they do not want to see what you're doing. They only want to harvest from things that you have. Harvest everything that you've worked hard from or hard on. What I'm seeing is like, it's almost like you would be the warehouse, the one who's producing the items. And then what they would do is they would take your items, what a lot of businesses do, they would buy it at that small price, but then when they go to sell your ideas, your inspiration, the energy that you put towards them, they put a higher mark on it. And instead of giving you credit, they take all the credit. It was my idea. This was my hard work. That's really hard to deal with. That is really hard to deal with. Something here is the Queen of Pentacles. For some reason, you feel very greedy. You feel like you are not a nurturer unless you are doing for whoever these others are. Maybe these others are quick to turn on you, especially when you start to try and withdraw yourself. Maybe these others have grown so attached to what you fulfill in their lives for them that you trying to step out for a break is something that will get you, what I'm hearing to say is like a tongue lashing. They're going to come out with the words that are not very uplifting. Instead, it's very condemning and taking away from you. Oh my goodness gracious. Do you have yourself in a pickle here? Because at the same time, the reason why you're attached to these others is because you have this strong love for them. And it's hard. It's hard to unlove people, places, things that you have loved for so long. But the whole thing is these people, this place, whatever it is running you ragged, taking credit for the things that you're doing and selling it as their own. And this is something that keeps going on, but this is something that also has been pulling at your energy throughout the time. It's something, what they do with whatever it is that you inspire, whatever it is, the stability that you try and create. When they take that, when they rob that from you, that is what makes you feel less, because they're not giving the credit where it's due, I'm hearing to say. It's hard. It is hard. Sometimes people we love will be energy vampires. And again, no matter how much we try to inspire them, they're just there to siphon, to suck, to suck whatever they can from us. That's what it is. And I mean, it's hard when you have to think about letting certain relationships go, or remolding those type of relationships to where you're not so invested in them. That is really, really hard. But at the same time, imagine everything that you did for these others. Imagine if you turned that all onto yourself. Do you think you would be as tired? Do you think you would be as irritable? Do you think that the stress of the burdens that you carry on your shoulders for them would be as heavy and as weighing on your health like it has been? Sometimes you gotta let them do them. And you, as much as it's hard to do because you're that guardian angel energy, you have to sit back and let them be their undoer sometimes. They have to fall hard to realize that they got to be the ones to pick themselves up. All right, so let's call in our angels of protection. Angels of protection. What is it that needs to come out for the shadow side here in the Scorpio frequency? Please keep us protected, angels of protection, as we navigate the shadow side here. And I'm hearing one more. That's the one more. All right, so again, a lot of it has to do with how they take so much from you. The whole thing is you're dealing with somebody who's an undoer. They're an undoer, but on the same sense, you want to look at them as something that they could be, the potential. Maybe every once in a while when they are getting their shit together, they look really good. They look damn fine in that good energy, in that divine energy. They look really good. They look like they have the charisma to conquer the world. But that energy doesn't come out as much as the other energy. And that's the energy of the malice, the energy of the vindictiveness, the energy of the self-sabotage, with the things that they surround themselves with, the things that they intake, and the things that they put out. I feel like that lands on the Queen of Pentacles, because this is something that this queen needs to take a look at. Not just from the view that they give you about yourself, Scorpio. You have to flip that view to where you see yourself as the nurturer, as the one who's stepping up to the plate when they're not doing it, and then reassess the situation. So some things that we are really, really confused about. We're confused about when it comes to stability versus chaos. What I'm hearing to say is, if you don't say much, then you're not left out in the cold when it comes to their harshness. But the thing is that puts you walking on eggshells for somebody that you put a pedestal, or you put them up on a pedestal, I should say. This King of Swords on the other side of it, they're smart. They're smart. They could be quick-witted. What I'm hearing is they could be so funny and quirky. And their intelligence, when you get them on that good side, their intelligence, the way their mind works, the way they speak, is something that you absolutely love. But here we have something that is trying to be built, because we have a past with them. Maybe we've all had a rough past, and because of this rough past, we have trauma bonded together. And in that trauma bond, we're trying to sit here and heal each other to build strong foundations. But the thing is, you're trying to build with somebody who wants to be unemotional at times, or uses their emotions to go off into their addictions, into their self-sabotaging habits. As much as you want this to be set into stone, as much as you want to build here, it's not happening. And what I feel like with this situation, this card's really highlighted. Nothing's set in stone here. Nothing is stable like you want it. These foundations are not strong, even though they have history. And this is something that plagues you in your emotions, because deep down, your intuition, reading between the lines, feeling the karmic energy / the dharma as it flows from the different events that have happened with this person and you throughout the different phases of your life, has shown you something much different. And I feel like that is, you will always be in a place that is inferior to this other. And for some reason, there is a lot of emotional punishment here. Maybe this person can only see things from a one view, whereas you see things from many different views, the emotional view. And it's hard to try and even make contact with this person on a mutual kind of level. I'm hearing to say a spiritual level, because they're quick to fly off. Quick. Look at that right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there is something flying off here, which looks a lot like this. You see that? Just know, Scorpio, sometimes this has nothing to do with you. People will fly off the handle. You know, I was speaking to Pisces, and Pisces is dealing with somebody who uses their emotions to keep their addictions going. Always validating their addictions because of how they feel. And people will do that. People will find reasons to hold on to certain bad habits, certain ways of living, certain views, because it feeds them something else, or they're able to use something else with it. Be careful, be careful, be careful. All right, let's continue to the conclusion. Divine and universal energy. What is it that needs to come out for the conclusion? Be careful, Scorpio. I feel like there are times where this person could even view what you do as getting in the way of their addictions. And this is why they're so harsh on you at times, especially when they are trying to be on the other side, that side that you like to see. So again, just keep in mind that last statement. All right, so first card that's coming out is, even though you aren't going anyway today, let your heart wander around sometimes. And that's under that balance, spirituality and practicality. Also, a new romantic cycle beginning, and your hard work is paying off. We need to sit with ourselves. We need to sift instead of running from how we feel to go to help others. How can we sit with it? How can we just take a break and not analyze our life to critique ourselves, but to analyze the different things that we care about, the different things that we've been through, and the different things that we have overcome, but as well as the different things that we want to work towards. That's something that needs to happen here. Slow down. You might see what you've never seen before. I like that, and that feeds into the last card that we were talking about. And it also feeds into the vibe. Rest, rest, rest. Rest is wonderful because you're able to take time to observe things. Things that you wouldn't have observed if you didn't slow down and take a break. Even though everything feels like it's the same desert of emotions that you've been dealing with, desert of complications that you've been dealing with, if you don't stop and look around, how do you find your oasis? What we've looked for might be closer than what we thought. I feel like this is the stability that you're seeking. Even though you could be seeking it through this other, and this is why this other can take so much from you, maybe something that you're looking for is something that you already have within you. Something that you've been growing, but you haven't really invested in maintaining it quite yet to an high upmost level, I'm hearing to say. And maybe that's something here that you can start investing in. Start to nurture that inner spiritual garden that you've been growing. Start to trim back the things that are like weeds in there growing and trying to take over, which could be the critical mind, how we're hard on ourselves, how we see ourselves as not having enough or not being good enough. We have to take care of ourselves in ways that money can't buy. Something that's really hard for you to see at times is, are you angry? Calm down. Don't be the biggest problem in your life because you let somebody push you to the edge and overwork you, overexert you to the point where you finally go postal. Because guess what? They're going to feed off of that. And if you've done it before, you already know what they're going to do. They're going to hang that over your head to make you feel less like you're at their level. How can we assess our energy and be able to see when this is coming and be able to stop and take a break, take a step back and sort through the emotions that are triggering this anger? Ooh-wee. And we have better keep on walking step by step. A weight would be shoulder. Look at that. To wait for somebody else to come in, or to wait for things to change, could drown you out because emotionally you're feeling a type of way, but physically you're being stubborn. How can you use yourself? Use the things that you've learned, use the things that you've been through to help create the movement you need to get out of being emotionally stuck. That is one step at a time, one step, and balancing out the energies within you, knowing when to get up and create action, but also knowing when to rest, when to recover, when to observe. And the last card is, no one can tell how tomorrow will be. The inevitable will always happen. And if you're sitting here going through a situation because you're worried about losing something in particular, I don't think it's about the person, the place, or the thing per se. I think there's something within that you're afraid of. And you are triggered when you feel like you're going to lose something. What is it? What is it that we could go in and heal so that when it comes to things that come and go in our life, whether good or bad, we know how to deal with it with the utmost, highest intentions for ourselves. And I say the utmost, highest intentions for ourselves is because a lot of times people think that self-sacrifice is the way to prove that you love somebody. But through all that sacrifice, you still can't guarantee that person's going to be there. How can we reassess what love is? Reassess also that we're worthy of just as much love as we shower onto others, trying to make others feel important, trying to make others feel and see the potential that they can go to. Imagine if you stopped investing in people who don't invest in themselves and you started investing in yourself. Because again, tomorrow's not promised. How can we treat it like a gift every time we do get an opportunity to wake up again here with the people and the places around us? Ooh-wee. I really like this story, Scorpio. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is very, very beautiful. Just know, no matter what phase you are in life, it is never too late to learn. It is never too late to grow. It is never too late to invest in yourself. Alrighty, this is going to conclude it. Don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming on in and helping out. And as always, I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.